Hey, hip and knee rescuers. Now we're going to look at some of our basically body weight movements, but they're really going to teach us those foot to core connections, okay, in a whole bunch of different postures that look a lot like what we would do in yoga class possibly. Okay, so you don't really need much equipment. I'm going to start with this first one because I really feel that the feet are the foundation of healthy knees and healthy hips and the way we carry our bodies. So we're going to give our feet and arches some stimuli right now. So I would recommend we stand with great toes straight ahead, heels a little bit wider, and then you'll see I've got a block between my lower legs. Now, if you don't have a block, maybe you could find something around your house. It could be, you know, a dense pillow or a foam roller or anything, a stack of clothes maybe, I don't know. So, you know, just something there that can help you, give you something to squeeze. That's basically what we need, okay? So below the lower legs. Now your setup is super important with the great toes straight ahead, heels a little wider, and I've wiggled my feet together so I can really hold that block, okay? And then all we're gonna do, keep the knees a little bit unbent, and we're energizing like we're trying to squeeze our heels together here, okay? And squeeze the block with your calf muscles. Okay, so you're going to go up and down. Now don't worry if you can't get up super, super high, just experiment with what you've got available to you. Okay, so I'll turn to the side so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So, you know, some of them might be higher than others, some of them might be lower. You're just going to work with whatever you've got. And what I want to think about as I do this is lifting my arch. It's not just my heel, it's my arch that I want to lift. And I want to keep my great toe grounded as I do this. So up we go, up we go. Now, up to you how many you do, because if you do 20 some, you're gonna start feeling this through the calves, through the hamstrings, maybe even up as high as your butt. Okay, so up to you how far you wanna take that. Also, you could hold it up and then hold it for a little while. Squeezing the block, squeezing your heels together. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, all right, so you probably feel that a little bit by now. And now I'm going to take a strap. Now this could be an actual yoga strap, or I think I got this off of, you know, a bag. So you can use a strap or a scarf or anything at all. All right, and we're going to do a similar thing, but now we're dialing out into a strap rather than squeezing a block. So same thing, I want to get my great toes pointed straight ahead, heels a little wider, and make sure my feet are not fanning out, because if they do, this might be a telltale sign that that's a habit in your body, and it's not a good habit to have, so you do want to change that if you can. So great toes straight ahead. Now I'm really pushing out. You can see how my tissue is dented. I'm pushing out into that strap, really solid. And I'm going to do similar thing we just did, but it's going to feel a bit different. So I'm bringing my heels off the ground, and I'm thinking in my mind that I want to lift my arches. Okay, so I'm lifting my arches up, my arches, and I'm dialing it out, dialing it out, dialing it out. Okay, so now as I do that, I might decide, oh, I'm going to hold that. And I might even decide to squat down with it and keep dialing out, dialing out, dialing out. 3, 2, and 1. And then I'm going to let the band go. Actually, no, I'm not going to let the band go, but I might make it a little bit wider, just a touch. Got to work with what feels comfortable. Okay, next exercise is a squat. So this doesn't involve the feet quite so much, but it's going to involve those lateral lines that we've been working on already. Okay, so I want to think about coming down into a squat and then pressing up. And as I press up, I'm dialing out. Still dialing out here, lift and press, down and up. So even those of you who have knees that are a bit grumpy, you've got the band above your knees, so this should feel okay for you. Remember, if anything feels painful, then just drop that exercise and do different ones, okay? Or maybe don't do as many, just work within your pain-free range all the time. Okay, and even here, I might do, say, 10 repetitions or more if you want, and then I might hold it and just dial out, dial out, dial out for 3, 2, and 1. Good. And let's release that. Now I'm actually going to let that drop. So now we'll work on some single leg standing balances. So those exercises so far, I've had both feet on the ground, so not quite the same balance challenge. So now let's work with our foot to core connection and see about doing some single leg. You could even have a block handy in case you need it, okay? Or a wall. Remember, finger on the wall if you need. All right, we want to develop our foot to core, so that's lifting, spreading the toes, root down into your great toe and your great toe mound. Heel is grounded as well, okay? And you want to think about shortening your foot. So that just means that your foot is active. You don't actually want to shorten your foot. Okay, just keep it active. This knee dials out, okay? And then we'll just see if we can take the back foot off the ground, okay? So this back leg, I want to dial it in. I want to dial this one out. So we're doing that, if you can tell. All right, and you can just hold it there for a little bit till you feel nice and solid. You might even want to see if I can bend and straighten my knee while I do that. It's just kind of helping you set yourself up for the next few exercises we do. Let's see how that feels on the other leg. Ground the great, well, lift and spread the toes, then ground the great toe mound 2. Heel is grounded and we want to energize the foot like we're trying to shorten it a little bit. Knee dials out. Then we take the back leg off. The back leg has to spin in. If it's out like that, we're going to be all loose and floppy, okay? So we got to spin it in. See if we can feel that foot to core connection. And then if you want, you could go up and down and just see if you can hold that. Again, you might have a finger on the wall. Don't worry about that. Just develop the skill. The strength and balance will come. Okay, so that's good. That's our foot to core connection. Remember that. And then we'll use that as we do some step back lunges. Okay, again, you could have a finger on the wall for this. So what we're going to do is keep one leg in front. Let's just make it the right leg. Dial this leg out, and then we'll have hands on hips. Step your foot back, bring your knee down, and step forward. Okay, let's do the same leg again. The job of this leg is to dial out. This leg is to softly touch the knee down. Now, if you pause and look back, and you see your back foot goes out like this, let's see if we can spin it in, okay? So, right, let's do 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then we'll switch sides. Make your foot to core connection, step your foot back, and then touch down. And bring the foot forward, dial it out. 2. Keep your pelvic floor, lower belly in mind, okay? We want to see if we can connect that whole leg to the core of the body through the pelvic floor and lower belly. Make sure your back foot's not turning out, spin it in. Almost touch the floor or gently touch the floor. And one more. Good. Okay. Wonderful, shake that off. Now we'll do it in the other direction. So we'll step back a little bit. Okay, we're gonna step forward with the leg, keep this leg dialing out. So we'll step forward and back, step forward. Now if you step forward and your knee does that, that will tell you something. Your foot might go out and your knee go in. So that's what we wanna train ourselves out of. This knee's gotta press out. Okay, so let's do 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Other side. 1, dial it out. 2, what's your back foot doing? Make sure the knee is pointing straight down. 4, 5, keep dialing it out. 6, 7, 8, 9. That's too much for your knee. Don't do as many. And 10. Great. Now, I won't go through it right now, but you could also alternate side to side. Okay, so it could look like one leg and then the other leg, and it could go forward and back. Okay, just so you know those options are available to you. And you can do those next time if you want. All right, so those are our lunges. And now we'll work with single leg standing balances. So this is where we're going to make our foot to core connection once again. Okay, so great toes grounded, short foot connection, dial it out, and bring that into the core. Now, if you're, just getting used to single leg standing balances, you could put the foot up on something, the coffee table, the couch, whatever you have handy. But you're going to work toward this. You're going to work toward pushing up with a thigh and down with the hand. Because this will show you right away that you can activate your core more. And what we want to keep doing is connecting the foot to the core. Now, a next level for you might be to, in your mind, as you're doing this, deep breathing, and keep connecting your breath to your foot. Okay? Let's relax that, and we'll take it down. So remember, you can put a foot up on something, just touch it with one toe. You could have a finger to the wall, whatever you need, all right? Let's establish ourselves, dial it out, and now raise the thigh, pushes up, hand pushes down. Activate your core. Take however long you need to get that foot feeling like it's connected to the body. All right, and now the breath is connected to the foot. Okay, let's keep breathing and hold for 1, 2, 3, and then you can release. Very nice. Okay, feel free to shake it out, do some of those mobilizations we did in between. Okay, so here's some more challenging exercises coming forward, all right? Well, let's start here. So I suggested what I called a touchdown exercise, okay? So this is where you're gonna stand on one leg. This leg's going to be lifted, okay? You can keep the toe down if you need, but just imagine you're reaching down to pick something up, okay? So it could be like a block, and this leg could just hang out, but you could light it up and make it more of a sort of a teeter-totter thing. You could pick it up if you want. I think this kind of is more like what we would do in real life. Okay, so you can get started with that. Let's do a few on the other side. Establish your foot to core. Decide how you want to do this. You're keeping this leg relatively straight. Notice my knee's a little bit bent though. I'm just going to reach down and pick that up. You can kind of switch which arm you do that with. You could also make this leg a little bit stiffer. But this is just personal preference, okay? Let's do one more on this hand and one more over here. Okay, so now let's do another round, but we're gonna pick up something that's way closer to the ground, okay? So say if you were picking up socks or the pickleball on the pickleball court, can you do that without letting your knee collapse in? Because this is often what we see. See how that happens so easily? So I want to see if I can pick that up without collapsing. And then I'll put it down. Reach down, pick it up. And if you do 10 or 12 of these, you're going to notice you're really working your leg. This is really good stuff. You don't need any equipment. All right, so it does take a little while to establish the coordination. Please be patient with yourself. And we'll just do one more. Okay, let's do the other side. If you find that, that's too much of a stretch on your hamstring or something, just bend the knee a little bit more, okay? Use your body like you would in real life, but just make your movements more precise. Okay, let's reach down, pick up our pen, and we'll put it back again. Reach down, pick it up. I'm gonna keep dialing this standing knee out. That's what's keeping me steady here. It's literally activating my foot to my core. That's why I'm steady. Use your breath. Connect your breath to your feet too. And we'll do one more. I'll reach down and pick up my pen. Okay, so those are the touchdowns and the pick it up. Now, oh boy, we're going to work even harder because we're going into a single leg squat. So again, if this is like already a lot, very, very challenging for you, remember you can always have a finger on the wall, or you could have a chair beside you to help if you want to try it. If your knee doesn't like it, or your ankle or something else, again, just do the different exercises. There's lots of things you can work on here. So a single leg squat means that the standing leg bends a lot too. Okay, that's what it means. So we're doing this. See how I'm really bending my knee and coming up on one leg. Okay, so if that's too much, feel free to just do it on two legs at first, because that doesn't require balance. And then when you're ready, one leg. So reach down, pick up your pen, reach down. Okay, so this is really my standing leg is bending, and I have to dial the knee out. Dial it out, and that's going to help stabilize the knee. It doesn't mean that the knee is never going to move. It just means that you'll be able to recover your position because you're already set up properly. Okay, so you might want to just do maybe 5 or 6 of those. Maybe it won't be 10 or 15, and that's totally fine. Let's try 5 on this side. Okay, so we're ready. We're dialing out. Now you reach down and pick up the pen. And then we'll put it back. Keep dialing out. You're lifting the arch of the foot, spinning that leg out. You can always touch your back toe down if you start to lose stability. We want to keep practicing precision because that's going to teach us a better movement habit. All right, one more time. That is a very traditional exercise instructor trick. We say we're going to do 3 and then we do 15. So, okay, now let's think about our full squat. So again, this may be in the distant future for you, but it's important to start working on it as soon as you can. So a full squat just means that you can get to the bottom of the squat with your heel down. And then you can take a poo in the woods, okay? And you never know when you may need to do that. Okay, so the road toward that is having something under your heels that you can rest into. And, that might need to be a little bit higher. I feel like this block would be a bit too high for that. Yeah, definitely too high. You might as well do a toe stand. So, something you can put under your heels usually helps. Also, a wider foot stance. So you want to work toward being able to keep the feet together, but in the meantime, a wider foot stance. And we always want to press the knees out, okay? Under their own power. It's not me doing this. It's under our own power, okay? So if you need something under the heels, no worries, okay? And what we would want to do here is spend a little bit of time. So I actually put my makeup on in this position every day, just about. You could also drink your coffee in this position. You could text message in this position. So, find a way to practice your full squat. If you're practicing it in conjunction with these other exercises we've been doing, that's a great time because your joints will be all heated up and it's actually going to feel really good. So practice your full squat. And then we played around with the idea of practicing our pistol squat. So I think I suggested using blocks where you were able to, like from a full squat position, reach out with one foot and then switch it up. You can do that with your blocks here and spend some time. So if we were going to do this, we could try something like holding for 5 seconds, 3, 2, and 1, and then switch. Remember, you can always hold your blocks. You can always hold onto the floor. Let's go for 4 more, and 2, and 1. And then maybe one day you'll practice your full pistol squat, which is just from the top, moving down into the pistol and moving back up on the other side. It's great to do this when you're all warmed up. Okay, I usually make my foot stiff. I make my fingers stiff, bring it all into my core. Down I go and push myself up. Okay, so again, when you're warm is the best time to do that. All right, then we finished it off with getting up and down off the ground. Now, I suggested this because that is a pretty major health and longevity indicator. So it's an indication of pretty good health and function if you can get yourself up and down off the ground. So let's look at some of the ways we can do that, okay? So to get down on the ground, if you can do a full squat, it gives you tons of options, right? Because boom, you're on the ground. Okay, if you can't do a full squat, maybe your heels are going to be lifted. So I would recommend coming down with the heels lifted, coming down with the heels lifted, and then it's fairly short to fall back, and it's not usually injurious. The other thing you could do is if you were coming down and your heels were lifted, you could just drop one knee, fold it under you, and sit down, and you could get up that way too. Okay, that's always appropriate. So if your knee is okay with that, you don't actually have to put much weight on it because I'm going to fold it under me, and there I go. Okay, now getting up from that, you've got a bunch of options too. So if you're, some people get up with their ankles crossed. That is fairly accessible. Getting up with 2 feet together, fairly accessible. Usually getting up with feet wide apart doesn't work, okay? It's actually a little bit easier if your feet are together or they cross like that, okay? So if you're working on it, and there's nothing wrong with, you know, using your arms a little bit if you need to, okay? You want to get to the place where you don't need your arms at all, really. But at first, use your arms, okay? Because ultimately, we don't want to push ourselves off the ground with our hands. All right, here's one more thing we'll try. And this would be, say, I'm not going to use my hands, but I just don't have quite the range of motion in my knees and ankles that I would need, so I could get up that way. So I'll show you the way down. We'll be here. This floor is so hard. And then sitting down on my hip like that. Okay, so that gives you some options. It's just something to work on. Since you're working on your knees and your hips and your health, these are some important health indicators if you want to give it a try. So you'll feel quite a sense of accomplishment, I think, if you go from not being able to get up and down off the ground without the use of your hands to actually being able to do that. And then you can show off for your family and friends, and who doesn't want to do that, right? Okay, so yeah, that's it. Remember that when you're working to restore function, means, you know, you can bend and straighten, and you can put weight on your joints, and you can move around without worrying that your joint's gonna hurt or what have you. If you're trying to recapture your function, then you've got to be precise. There's no point in going 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, that's just not even going to count. You have to be precise the whole time. Dial it out, foot to core connection, use your breath, feel your body, and take your time, okay? Until you're at that level of fatigue, that's going to cause adaptation, and you're going to start moving forward. Now, it doesn't happen overnight, guys. So give yourself time. If you're consistent 3 to 5 or 6 times a week, sorry, you got to do the work, then you can probably anticipate really good signs of improvement and encouragement in about 6 to 8 weeks for sure. So you might want to diarize that, keep a journal or something to just see how often you're working with this, and then you'll start to notice some benefits, okay? If you ever have any questions about stuff like that, please give me an email or something. Love to help you out, okay? All right, hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you again soon, I hope. Bye for now, guys.